batter up. We'll take our cuts at this thing. How are you? It's the FOX6 Sports Blitz. You see Lily Zhao. You see Brandon Cruz. I'm Tim Van Voorn. Thanks for staying up with us on a Sunday night. And here's what's coming up in this evening's starting lineup. Brewers moving in a new direction. They trade away their pitching ace. We begin the countdown to March with college hoops heating up in Wisconsin. Doc Rivers makes us say what? We look at his first week in charge of the Bucks. We assess the Packers' newest coordinator. He's on board. And we wrap things up with our high school hotshot.
Anytime you trade a guy like Corbin, it's always a difficult decision. I think the overarching theme here is that we're excited about the players we're getting back, and the reality of our situation is that we had 1 year left with Corbin. I think Corbin had been pretty public about how this was going to be his last year as a Brewer.
And one of the best Brewer pitchers of all time, certainly up through the farm system, one of the best that you would have to say that way as well for the Milwaukee Brewers ever. Brandon Cruz, you were here the night the trade went down. You've also been in spring training, for instance, when he talked about not winning the arbitration case, that sort of thing. And you've watched Corbin Burnes with his career here in Milwaukee. What's your mood?
I feel like it's very tough for the fans. I think you believe in this guy as a guy that is going to give you a win or give the Brewers a chance to win every 5 days. And because of that, you have belief that you can see your team reach the playoffs. Now you have to question that. Can this team do that without him or Brandon Woodruff? And the one thing that was great about what this guy did is he started almost every game. He rarely had to miss games for injury. He rarely missed games for poor performances. He only had one real bad season with this team, and that was in 2019. He goes to a sports psychologist before the 2020 season, and his career takes a completely different path, ends up winning the Cy Young in 2021, and was a leader on that staff. And he's also a leader in the clubhouse. So they're going to lose that, and especially losing Brandon Woodruff. That's two big figures in that clubhouse that are gone. And now you have to look at that starting staff and say, who leads them? Yes, you've got Peralta right there, who's a great pitcher, and he's going to step into the number one role. I don't know if he's the guy, though, that holds that whole group together. Corbin Burnes rarely said I either. He always said we. How'd you pitch today, Corbin? Well, we worked the outside of the strike zone, which is an interesting approach. Was this just inevitable, Lily?
I think so, right? You had 1 year left with Corbin Burnes. Everyone knew that. But you talked about the arbitration, right? How that was a little bit contentious going into last season. We saw how that all played out. And, Corbin Burnes always very willing. But he believed, I think, that he was going to be on the team this season based off what he said were talks between, himself and the organization, his agent. And, with the signing of Rhys Hoskins, their new first baseman, it was kind of a win-now moment move for the team. So I think he was thinking, hey, I'll be with them through this year. And then maybe next year is when they do trade me. But I think, he mentioned he was surprised by the trade as well. He didn't see that one coming per se, but I guess it was inevitable that it was going to happen. But I think, like Brandon said, it's going to be hard for the fans because, you start out with Josh Hader, he's gone, Craig Counsell's gone, Corbin Burnes is gone, Brandon Woodruff is gone. A lot of these big pieces that have been cornerstone pieces for the Brewers have all gone, and 2024 is going to look much different.
Major strikeout numbers gone there, too, with Corbin Burnes, and, of course, that was the great hook he always had because he could get you out of those situations. So where does this leave the Milwaukee Brewers? You suggested some of the guys who are left. You talk about a lot of the guys who are gone. But the season and spring training are right around the corner.
And that's what we're going to have to see. We're going to see, is DL Hall ready to step into that role for this team now that he's coming over from Baltimore? Who else is going to be able to move up and really establish themselves as a starter? And, when you saw them sign Rhys Hoskins just in the last couple of weeks, you thought, okay, maybe this team is going into this season with the thought that they're going to win. You've got Corbin Burnes at the top. Well, now that's gone. Now you have a very young pitcher who looks like he could be very exciting with DL Hall. Mm-hmm. A lot of strikeouts. He's left-handed. I think that's an advantage. But he doesn't have the experience. So we will have to see. So to me, there's optimism, but now it's much more guarded and probably more, I'd say the more realistic thing is hopeful as opposed to expecting a team to reach the postseason.
So, Pat Murphy, here you go. You get your managerial opportunity, and you're not only are you not sure what you're going to have as you get into the season, but we're going to change it right before the season, and it might change again. This is not necessarily the end of these moves.
Right. I mean, we could see another big trade coming down. Willie Adames, does he get traded? What do they do with him ahead of spring training, or do they add another, potential player or position player? I mean, we'll see what more moves or what other moves this team does make, but The question is now, though, with the pieces that you currently do have, how do you assemble the best starting lineup, A, for your pitching rotation, the best guys in relief as well, and then the best guys in the infield and outfield? I think that's going to be a big challenge for Pat Murphy to figure out how do we utilize everybody on the roster that we currently have, knowing that there could be a couple more names added or subtracted.
And you talk about that, let me sorry to interrupt, but you talk about the fact that Willie Adames looks like he'd be the next one out. His contract is up at the end of this year. Look at the San Francisco Giants. They freed up a lot of money. They have a lot of pitching in their system, and they need a shortstop. So to me, that's somewhere to look at right now specifically if you're going to look at possible trades for Willie Adames, because the Giants are pitching rich.
Middle of the month, pitchers and catchers reporting, no matter who's on the roster.
Right.
It is halftime, time for the Fox 6 Blitz Insta Poll. All you have to do to participate is go to the question on the QR code on the screen or go to fox6now.com. And how do you feel about the Brewers starting rotation following the Corbin Burnes trade? Not good. Same as always. They still have Freddie Peralta. Who's number 2? Or they need to sign another free agent. That would be a tough one because I'm not sure who would even qualify for that there with the last one. But we want to hear from you, and we'll have the answers before we're done.
I mean, I think we're really close. I mean, we played one of the best teams in the country today, and we had so many things that we pick up on and we can get so much better at. So we knock out 1, 2, 3 of those things, and I see no reason why we can't be one of the best teams in the country.
And you want to, play at a high level and compete with the best, with the goal that you want to be the best. It's not just about playing with them. You want to conquer them.
Well, Greg Gard there kind of said what the Badgers did today. They played with Purdue. They were in it, but Purdue was able to win the game down the stretch. That's 2 straight losses for the Badgers, who came into this week having vaulted up on the in the rankings. They got all the way up to number 6. Here we go. And then they lose. They collapse at Nebraska. Then they lose a close game today. What are we going to talk about with college basketball about a month out from the tournament, Lily? Let's start with those Badgers. Good, bad, half full, half empty?
I think it's half full. I know the 2 losses certainly sting, but like you mentioned, they went toe-to-toe with Purdue. I think in this game, they were doubled up on the boards. They were 0 for 11 from 3 in the second half. And then, of course, the problem with Zach Edey, right? He was just dominant in the paint, and it's hard to win when you're not making threes when their guys are, and Zach Edey just a force in the paint. But that's the thing. They went toe-to-toe with the second-ranked team in the country. They do finish out the regular season in West Lafayette against Purdue, so they get another shot there as well. But I still like this Badgers team. They're tough defensively. They'd have to get better on the boards, but I like the way that they're playing despite 2 straight losses. I don't think there's any sort of reason for concern right now, month out for the Badgers.
They have exceeded expectations and probably look like they will over the body of the season.
I think so. I think this team is built to have a long run in March. I think, once you see the tournament field unveiled, then it's all about matchups, and this team can play with anybody in the country. So it's just a matter of, are they able to maintain some consistency once we get to that point? And right now, I would say they're consistent with the exception of the collapse in Lincoln the other day, because this team went into the week at 8-1 in the Big Ten. They're now 8-3, only a game and a half out of the top spot, and they are beating most teams that they are supposed to, and they're in every game. So when you look at this Badgers team, who's also very experienced with guards, they have the ability to play inside. They're a team, I think, that can make a long run in March.
Back to you on Marquette. You can't play Georgetown every game. You can't play DePaul every game, but you'll take them when they're on the schedule. But this team has overcome some injuries and started to put things back together again. Are they for real, or do they not have enough because of the depth issues?
No, they're for real. And I think what you're seeing right now is Tyler Kolek taking over this team again. I mean, he's always been the one that really ignites how this team goes. And he's kind of taken a backseat early on and at different times. But of late, he has really taken over these games from scoring, from assists. Even the other night when he wasn't scoring, last weekend, he was still dishing out assist after assist after assist. He's been very involved in this team's success lately, and it doesn't matter that it's a Georgetown. It doesn't matter that it's a Seton Hall they're playing against. Whoever it is, Tyler Kolek and Oso Ighodaro are the reason why this team also can make a very big run. And I love the way they play together. This is a team that you can say all you want about the success of the Badgers. Marquette is a tight-knit group, and they play for each other. They love each other. It's something you can see every time they're out there, and I think however Tyler Kolek goes is how this team goes.
A feisty Kolek is a good Kolek. Speaking of expectations, they had so many at the start of the season. Has that been tough for this team to deal with?
I think so, but I think they're responding well, right? We've seen kind of the up and down season for Marquette this season, but they've certainly answered the challenge well, and they've gotten guys that have coming back. I think I really liked what Cam Jones was able to do coming back from an ankle injury, dropping 31 points. I mean, again, these are the games that they know that they're going to win, and they played like a dominant team, and I think that's what this team wants to see, especially knowing that they have the postseason experience now. The target is on their backs every single game because, you know, all the other teams in the Big East know what they did last season, right, in conference. So they're going to be taking everyone's best shot, but I think what they're doing right now is responding. They put together a nice win streak here. Guys are kind of playing up to their potential. Tyler Kolek especially. I know he kind of struggled there for a little bit as well. So like Brandon said, I think this team is built for the postseason. I think they're also going to make hopefully a deep run like Wisconsin.
UWN was so successful last season, but if you don't win the automatic bid in the Horizon League, you're not going to the NCAA tournament. It's more exciting as the season goes along than their year has been this year. But do they have enough to maybe strike fear and catch a little lightning in the bottle here at the end of the season? I
think it'll be tough, but never say never, right? I mean, when you're looking at the top two teams in the Horizon League, you have Cleveland State. They're undefeated at home this season. Then you have Green Bay. I think that Green Bay UWN matchup, it's going to be fun, especially for us here in Wisconsin. But, you know, it's been an up and down season for the Panthers as well, for Bart Lundy. I know they came in with massive expectations. They've lost, you know, a player here in their starting lineup, and it's been very up and down in terms of just their personnel. But I think they're persevering right now, and we'll see if they can make a run. But I think it'll still be tough because, as you guys can see, still a couple games out from the top spot there.
And with a coach named Sundance, for goodness sakes, at Green Bay, it's a memorable season on that alone.
With a memorable coach.
Yes, yeah, right, absolutely, no doubt about it. So we shall see. About a month out here as we get ready to get into the NCAA tournament. Riding a 12-game winning streak into the All-Star Game weekend, a pair of Admirals still on the ice. The AHL weekend kicking off tonight in San Jose with the skills competition. We have Spencer Stasny in the fastest skater event right here. He finished with the second quickest time. Yaroslav Askarov is in net for a few different events representing the Western Conference. The team is so hot right now, this break, you wonder how that's going to affect them, but great opportunity for these two guys to be in the stage. The All-Star Spotlight is Monday night, and we're up next with Say What.
Did you find yourself channeling your inner Hulk tonight?
I don't get your question.
I've been rated high as a funny man.
Certainly, you're talking about one of the all-time greats.
When the Hulk voice or Jan's voice?
That's a good question.
That is ridiculously bad. It really is. Well, Adrian's going to get some money, that's for sure, and a ring. You know, it's one of these quirky things. I think there should be a rule somehow that someone else does it other than me. Maybe I'll send my staff and I'll go on vacation.
Welcome to the All-Star Game. Doc Rivers, the head coach of the Eastern Conference. Lily, he finds that out after they win last night, his first win. What does this mean for him right now while this is happening?
I think it's just a nice gesture from him, right? Knowing that, you know, Adrian Griffin is the one who kind of took this team to where it was, and he comes in midseason, and of course he wants to give Adrian Griffin and you know, that staff a chance to, you know, get some money and all that. But I know him and his assistants not expected to kind of do much here. But I think that was a nice gesture from Doc, knowing that he just came in a week ago and now would be getting this opportunity. But, you know, I think it's just, you know, something expected when you're, you know, kind of coaching a team that's right up there in the Eastern Conference. And, of course, with the Knicks loss and with them winning last night, they get that opportunity. So just something else that they have to talk about this week. But I think he's more focused, Brandon, on getting this team turned around because it was a mighty collapse, I would say, today against Utah.
How much does this take away from him preparing for that, Tim?
I think it does. He hired to coach the Bucks. They start on the road. They don't have much practice time. You want to try to put some things in with your own energy, your own new staff. You're still building that. And instead, you're going to be in Indianapolis working with the Eastern Conference. Kind of goofy all the way around.
It is. And you have to wonder what the Bucks front office thinks about all this as they have to watch him coach in Indianapolis. He's 1-3, by the way, as the head coach. Well, the Packers make a big move, one that we've been looking for. Were you surprised by the hire of their new defensive coordinator?
Well, I read like everybody else, all these other names, and then if it's a Jeff Hafley out of nowhere, head coach at Boston College, has a little history with Matt LaFleur. I think it's an intriguing hire. I think some of these other NFL position coaches who were pushing would have made certain sense for the Green Bay Packers as well. I'm interested to see how much change there will be on the defensive staff. I think that'll be more telling than anything else. When Joe Barry came in, there was no change on the defensive staff. So will Jeff Hafley have influence in the way people are moved around or not?
What do you think of a guy coming from leading a college program to leading an NFL defense? Does that matter?
I don't think so as of yet, because again, he does have experience in the NFL. 2012 to 2018, guys see it right there. Bucks, Browns, Niners. He was the DB's coach for those three teams. So he has experience in the NFL, but I think, this Packers front office likes the fact that he has college football head coaching experience. He can kind of, lean on that maybe to help Matt LaFleur in a sense, but just his ability to lead, I think, was important for this team. But I think is also his ability to adapt and adjust. This Packers front office likes the fact that he has college football head coaching experience. He can kind of, lean on that maybe to help Matt LaFleur in a sense, but just his ability to lead, I think, was important for this team. But I think is also his ability to adapt and adjust, I think, will be important, because I don't think he's coming in with a preconceived scheme that he's going to put on these players. I think he's going to really kind of see what he has in terms of personnel and try to develop that scheme around those guys. And I think he's going to get the best out of the secondary, which I think has been lacking. And I think this was, like Tim said, a very intriguing hire. But, I think the fact that he has coaching experience, especially the head coaching position, and has an ability to adjust, I think will be important.
All right, well, Tom Silverstein of the Journal-Sentinel reports that Tom Clements is coming back, a big deal. But we also hear that Sean Mannion's going to be a coach on this staff.
A recent player, obviously a recent quarterback in the NFL, a young guy. You would assume that he's going to be groomed. He's been seen as a real bright, innovative type offensive player who's probably going to become a coach, so it's not a surprise he's going into that. It's just that he's going into that now. The Jerry Montgomery, it's been reported, is leaving the defensive staff, so there will be some shuffling. Justin Hood has left the defensive staff to go to the Atlanta Falcons, so there is some personnel move.
How much more movement do you expect as they head into the combine and into the draft?
We'll see. I don't think maybe a lot more, other than maybe a couple more on the defensive side of the football, as Hafley and Matt LaFleur try to get that thing shored up.
All right, well, let's check in on our instant poll question. You can go to it by scanning this code or to our website, fox6now.com. How do you feel about the Brewers starting rotation following Corbin Burns being traded? Same as always, leading the way right now, but a lot of you also saying not good. We'll see what you say by the end of the show. We'll be right back with a high school hotshot. Well, thanks for staying with us tonight. She discovered her love for basketball through her dad, and he's the one who has inspired her with another passion project off the court as well. Here's this week's Fox 6 High School Hotshot.
Hi, I'm Amira Grant, and I'm a junior point guard at Brown Deer. I started when I was like 3 or 4 years old and just fell in love with the game. Just countless hours of work, putting in the work, going to the gym in the morning at 5 a.m., working with my dad. When he was younger, he played a little bit, but he was a D. Rose fan, so he really loved D. Rose, and I would sit on the couch with him and watch them games with him. I have bigger goals to go to state and things like that. I think because I have a higher standard, I want to go to the WNBA, so that's my goal. And it just pushes me to keep going. To make it to the WNBA, that's my ultimate dream. My clothing brand started when I was 12 years old. My dad is an entrepreneur, so he kind of builds brands himself. We got a family clothing brand called Red BU, and I saw his idea, and then the idea just popped up in my head because I play sports. And this brand right here, MGMG, it stands for My Game is My Game, and it's basically like BU in a sense, and play your own game. I want to be the next Amira. I don't want to be the next LeBron, a Sue Bird, Breanna Stewart, or Steph Curry. With the brand, hopefully it gets popular, and I can, instead of relying so much on basketball, I can rely on my brand a little bit too. I like to be on TikTok. Yeah, just the dances. This year I'm hoping to beat Steve Novak's scoring record. I just know he was a great basketball player, and I know he played for the Milwaukee Bucks and Marquette and things of that nature, so it'd be an incredible experience to beat his record. Steve Novak's scoring record is 1,740 points.
And where are you at right now?
I'm at 1,616. I'm Amira Grant, and I hold the single game scoring record in my school, and I have a clothing brand. And I'm this week's Fox 6 High School Hotshot.
All right, watch out, Steve. Amira's single game scoring record is 48 points, and she's currently ranked 6th in the state in points per game. She has 3 games remaining and the playoffs to try and take over the top spot in Falcons scoring history this season. We'll be right back.
hope springs eternal. You trade away a Cy Young Award winner, people feel the same about the Brewers starting rotation on our Fox 6 Blitz Instant Poll.
Well, we'll see how they feel about the Bucks this week as they finish their longest road trip at the Suns, then they're back home for the Wolves and Hornets.
And a busy week for college hoops as well. Marquette, they're going to see if they can continue their winning streak, taking on St. John's. Milwaukee and Wisconsin also in business as well. We'll see if the Badgers can bounce back on the road this week, guys.
Absolutely, and Admirals will get back to playing hockey, and they have a 12-game winning streak going, so we'll see what's happening.
Perfect 2024.
How about that, yeah. It was perfect that you were joining us with us tonight on the Fox 6 Sports. Brandon, Lily, Tim, see you next week.